Hello. With us today, we have Rebecca Blust. Rebecca, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Carla, thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited. And yes, I'd love to tell you about myself. I am a purpose and empowerment coach. Sometimes I call myself a transformational facilitator. And I love supporting impact driven women in really breaking through the programming and the limiting beliefs that they have and really finding their true purpose, not the one that your parents, your spouse, your friends, your culture says that you should have, but your true one, like your true, like heart, purpose, passion that you're here for, and then supporting them and making that happen. Because I do believe that when we are all truly living our purpose and in service to humanity, we will have a different world that we're looking out at.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And can you tell me, like, when you're trying to help somebody find their purpose, what kind of stuff do you guys do? I know you helped me with mine, so I would love for you to share with everybody.
Yeah, and since we're talking about, women empowered, redefined. So often women, especially women, have been programmed in a certain way depending on their culture. And we've all been programmed before the age of 8. You're in what's called the theta brainwave before the age of 8 because your physical body has to learn how to talk, how to walk, how to eat, how to fit into your family. In the Western world, how to read, how to write. There's a lot that you have to learn. So it literally is just like absorbing. And so you absorb these programmings, we'll call them, or beliefs from the people around you. And that's your friends, your family, your culture, your teachers. And you don't even know that you have them. You don't. They're very deeply in your subconscious mind. And researchers have shown that 95% of the day we're in our subconscious mind. We don't even know that we're having these thoughts and these emotions. They're so habitual, you don't even realize that you're having them. And so then you have this habitual thought that was programmed before the age of 8 with this emotion that matches it, and then this habit of acting and speaking. And so you create this life for yourself. And there's 12 areas that the experts will talk about. I like to just narrow them down to 5. So wealth is one of them. You have programs about money. All of us do. And they've done research where, like, people in the poverty level have certain mindsets about money, people in middle class have a certain mindset, and then people who are considered wealthy have another mindset. And it's all been programmed in, right? And you don't even know that you have it. We have programs about health, about eating, exercise, sleep. We all have programs about that. We have programs about our purpose, or our work or our career, or if we should have a career. We have programs about relationships, how we act in a relationship, what we expect in a relationship. That's from our friends to our siblings and our spouses and our children. How many have I got to 4? I think I do 4 or 5. I can't remember where I'm at. So we all have these beliefs, right? And we have this way that we think, and we keep recreating it. Now, there's 2 ways that I talk about it. There is the psychology. So you have the psychology of these programs, and you have reticular activation, where your brain literally will delete anything that doesn't match what you already believe. So you're getting like hundreds of data coming into your brain per second, hundreds and hundreds, and you're only absorbing 50 out of like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, right? I think it might even be in the millions, and you're only like retaining 50 because your brain is literally like delete, delete. I didn't hear that. I didn't see that. You're even rereading things incorrectly. You're not hearing things as they're said, because it will only fit what you already believe. So that's why it's really difficult to change beliefs, is because your brain, your subconscious brain, its job is to keep you safe. So safe means same, doesn't mean happy, doesn't mean successful, it means same. So
Right.
if you're alive, your subconscious brain did its job. So it will literally get rid of anything that doesn't match what you already believe, right? So that's the psychology. Then there's the energy. And there is so much work now being done by like Joe Dispenza I mean, there's a lot of people out there doing this work, and Joe Dispenza is a big one. Bruce Lipton is another one on quantum physics, right? And how our thoughts have an energy, and then you put an emotion with a thought, and now like, right? There's a lot of inertia behind it, brings in and attracts to you the same vibration. And we literally create our reality through vibration as well. And what happens is we look at the reality in front of us and we're like, I don't like that. I don't, my partner is this. My mom's that way. You know, my kids are doing this. And we then talk about it. We put energy towards it, lots of energy all day long. You know, anyone we talk to, we're talking about our partner, our mother, our children, right?
Right.
And we have a lot of emotion towards it, and we just create more, right? So the key is this: what's in front of you, with your energy and your thoughts in the past, you brought it to you. So the trick is to consciously create something different. You have to ignore that. If you don't like it, do not talk about it. And if you feel sadness or anger, let the emotion go through your body. It's not who you are, it's just a chemical reaction. You let it go, and you don't add thoughts to it or fuel to it. And you certainly do not engage in conversations about it with people, so that you can change your reality, and look for the positive, like always gratitude, because gratitude, it's one of the things that in my free gift I'll talk about it, consciously creating. So 3 habits, one of them is gratitude, and gratitude for even the little things. So let's say we'll pick on moms because it's Mother's Day. You have this mother and she's just overbearing, she's always telling you what to do, right, constantly, and you don't need her to tell you what to do. And so your complaint is that she's overbearing. Well, if you focus on that and you think about that and you talk about that, she's always going to be that way. But you could switch it to be like, I'm so grateful that I had this mother that, kept me fed. I had, brought me to high school and to school every day. And now, like, she brings me groceries. Maybe you don't want the groceries, but you can be thankful that she's brought you groceries, right? Because it's free food. So you find things to be grateful for, and you focus on that, and you will see a change. And I know it seems like weird, especially if you've never like experienced this, but I'm going to give you something that is a true life example. I was working with a lady, and she had an estranged relationship with her daughter. She's in her 70s, her daughter was in her 50s, and there was a thing that happened when she was much younger in a divorce with the ex that created this estranged relationship, to the point where her daughter had her blocked on everything. Like, there's no way for this woman to even get a hold of her daughter, and she was very sad about that. And so there was no way to even work in the physical world on it. She could not contact her daughter.
Right.
So I had her work in the energy field. I'm like, every single day, and you're going to make it a habit every morning, every night. And if you think about it during the day, great. I want you to write about and think about things that you're grateful for about your daughter and about any type of relationship you have, like anything you can think of. Use gratitude. Within 3 days, this daughter who had like blocked on everything contacts her and tells her how much she loves her. Less than 3 years later, the same daughter is buying her mom a home so that she can take care of her mom in her golden years on the beach in Florida. Like, and it was only through, we worked with the energetics of it. We didn't even do anything in reality. There was no like, write your daughter this letter, and then when she responds, say this. And like, no, we didn't even work in the physical world. It was all the energetic world, right? And that's one of the things that I teach, like how to consciously create, because we're creating every single day, and we're creating from our programming, right? So we can become aware of what that programming is. Awareness first, that we have this programming. 2, then we can start like working on consciously changing it, and so that we can have a different reality, right? And Carla, you're one of them. Like, I'm Carla, right? She's one of them. So 2 years ago, Carla was in a whole different situation, and I met her. I'm like, this woman has a gift to give the world. She is going to change the world. I can see it. It was like bing, bing, bing. It was not her passion or purpose at the time. I mean, kind of. We all, by the way, we have a through thread through our lives, and it kind of shows this. So there was this thread that was reoccurring in her life all the way back when she was, doing work with women and all this stuff, right? So there was this thread. And for me, it was just like this neon sign. I'm like, You're not supposed to be doing admin work over here. You're supposed to be changing the world doing this thing over here.
Right.
Right. And the thing is, she took the steps. She had to step through fear. She had to step through her limiting belief. She is now a best-selling author, has this amazing like practice where she is literally changing people's life in one session and bringing together experts like in less than 2 years. Right. And so it can happen very quickly when we work on the right thing, on like, what do we actually believe? What do we actually really want? And then stepping through that fear, because that's your subconscious mind keeping you safe, and taking different steps and having different thoughts and reacting differently so that we could have a different life. I know I just talked a lot. Is there anything you want to like say? Because I could talk about this.
Right. No, and it's great. And you're right, because I was in a, like, I've always helped and worked with women, however, whatever, in different capacities, but I was in a different space. And because you took me to a place and you're like, this neon sign, look, step through fear. And the awareness is huge. It's just so huge to be aware of what your behavior is and to stop and see when your triggers what's going on, and to also realize that when you're talking about somebody else, it's reflecting back your own stuff, right? That
Mhm.
reflection and just how much it changes your relationships. What would you say would be a good way to become aware, since that's the beginning step?
It is. So the best way, and here's, I'm going to say too, if you're feeling triggered, that's fine. Because I remember in the beginning when I was learning about this stuff, and like I learned that I'm actually creating my reality, I was pissed. No, I'm not. This person is doing this thing to me, and that person is doing this thing to me,
Right.
and I'm just over here trying my best. No, I was creating my own reality. And that's one of the things that we've been programmed not to know, right? Because it keeps us disempowered. And once you decide, nope, I'm empowered and I'm going to consciously create, the first step is to become aware. So there's those areas that I spoke about. And what is it that you believe in those areas? And there's different ways of figuring that out. One of them is, what do you say after I am? So about money, do you say I'm broke? I'm broke. Do you feel that maybe money is a security? So you just want to save it. Maybe you feel that money is evil, so you don't want it. Maybe you even have a hard time receiving. So someone wants to gift you lunch and you feel awkward about that. That's also about money. Receiving is about money. It's energy. It's all an energy exchange. So how do you feel about receiving compliments? How do you feel about receiving support? Even though that's not money, it is an exchange of getting, right? How do you speak about money? Do you say we can't afford that? Or do you say I'm choosing not to buy that because you want to buy this, so you're not going to buy that? It's different than I can't afford it. It's that you're making a choice, right?
Right.
About, exercise. Like, yeah, my mom was overweight, my grandma's overweight, just like runs in our family. Well, if you believe that, then that will be true for you, right?
Right.
I can tell you for myself, I'm adopted, but my adopted family, they're very, very large women, all of them. Aunts, my mom, my sister. I am not, but I didn't know, I didn't meet them until I was in my 30s. But had I grown up, I might have thought that just is how it is,
Right.
right? So I had a different programming than my biological family. And how do you view relationships? So here, this is something fascinating. Are you the victim? We get a lot of power in being the victim.
Mhm.
This is weird, but a lot of us get a lot of power in being a victim. So we always have to have a villain. So if it's not the boss at work, then maybe it's the partner, but maybe the partner's great and the boss is great. So let's find a friend. So there's always someone in our life that's the villain,
Yep.
and we could be the victim. That is really a powerful thing to look at. Are you looking to find a villain all the time so that you can be a victim? And that's a disempowering belief, right? Um, so taking a look at these areas, especially an area that you're not happy in, start taking a look at, what are you saying to other people? What are you saying to yourself? And if you still can't figure it out, spend time with your family and see what they're saying. You did not escape it.
Right.
Whatever your parents say in those areas, you have a belief that is very similar. It might be a little bit different, might not be as strong, but you have a belief that is similar. And I'll give a personal example. I got to spend a lot of time as an adult with my dad 2 years ago. There was an accident. And so we were driving up 2.5 hours several times a week to go see my mom who's in this hospital. So I got to spend all this time as an adult with my dad in the car, which not many of us get that opportunity, right? And just listening to him talk, and I realized, I'll give an example. Sorry, Dad. We're driving and his car cuts us off, not for any malicious, reason. They just needed to get over. And he felt that they did on purpose. And he literally said, they're just, yeah, these people out there, they just want you to crash. They just want you to crash. And thinking, I don't think anyone wants anyone else to crash. And I
Right.
said that to my dad. I go, Dad, I don't think they want us to crash. I think that, they had to get over. I don't really truly believe they want to make another human being crash their car. And he goes, really? Like, he really was introspective, really? And we had a conversation about that. And I thought, "Ooh, Rebecca, there's no way you escaped this," because almost everything he spoke about was like people were trying to do something to him. Something was happening. And I'm like, it's in you somewhere. So I started looking at, where am I doing this? And I had this really fascinating awareness that I had this thought and this feeling that came with the thought that I didn't even know I was having. And it was a mixture of guilt and shame and fear. This weird emotion that I had that would go with these thoughts that were subconscious. It was so deep in my subconscious, I didn't know I was thinking it, and I didn't know I was feeling it until I started looking for it. And then I was able to go, whoa, but you don't actually consciously believe this.
Right.
And I was able to switch that. But and I'd already been doing this work for a long time. I did not know until I was able to spend all this time with my father and knowing what I know about how this all works. I'm like, you did not escape this. You need to start looking, where is this showing up? And I found it. So the best place is your family. Like, what do they say? What do they think? And then what are you saying in these areas? And then once you're aware, that's always the first step. Awareness is always the first step. And then the second step is, can you be empowered enough to switch? Okay. So instead of, like, maybe you are broke. I mean, maybe you literally have no money and you are broke, but can you be empowered enough to say that I'm working towards financial freedom? So when your kids want something, and instead of saying, we can't afford that, we're choosing not to spend our money that way. We're choosing to, pay our bills and, get ahead. So stop saying things that keep you where you're at.
Which
That's
is
number.
programming your kids as well.
It's programming your kids, and we've all programmed our kids. I program my kids.
Yeah.
We program them, so then also this too, it really is your vibration. And happy and negative emotions are chemicals. Okay. And chemicals,
Right.
they don't stay in your body. They go up, they go down, they go up, they go down, they go up, they go down. And what you actually think will make you happy will, for a very short time, 1 day, 2 days. That's why you get that brand new whatever it is you get. And then pretty soon it's not that exciting. Or why kids get this toy at Christmas that you begged you for, and 2 days later they won't play with it, because those chemicals go up and down, right? But then you have a state of being. And your state of being, some of you were born with a higher positivity state, some of you were born with a lower one. But just like a muscle, you can keep raising your natural resting state. I call it like positive thinking, not the fake positive thinking, but really a practice. So you might have, here's your state of being, then you have happy chemicals, negative chemicals, happy chemicals, but you have a state of being that you can raise, right?
Right.
And one of the ways of doing it, and it's been research proven by Robert Evans, is gratitude. He's a positivity psychologist, so a psychologist who deals in positivity, and his niche is gratitude. And he has done so much research from age of 8 to 80. And he has shown in his research that people with a gratitude practice in as little as 3 weeks have raised their positivity level,
Oh, wow.
their resting positivity state, which then you're vibrating all the time naturally at a higher level, which means you're going to then be attracting things that are different. And what you'll find is there are people and situations that don't vibrate at that level will start falling away, and that's okay. Do not be alarmed. That's okay. Higher level events and people and things will come into your life as you raise that level. And so gratitude is the number one way. And then I also like to do savoring, which is like gratitude, where during the day you just stop, you get into your body, because oftentimes we're not in our body, we're thinking the future or the past. You get into your
Right.
body and you do that by like, okay, where am I sitting? What does it feel like? How does the air feel? Just get into your body by thinking of your senses. What am I hearing? What am I seeing? What am I feeling? And then what right now can you be grateful for? Like, I'm grateful that I am talking to Carla. I love Carla and I love talking about this stuff so that I can help people. Like, I'm very, very grateful for that. Right. And if you can do that throughout the day, that's like gratitude in the moment. And then the other third practice, and this is all in my free gift, Consciously Creating, is choosing the positive branches. So we all have people or situations where we do not choose the positive branches,
Right.
right? Like, blah. So you know this person or this event or this thing is you're gonna have an interaction, and you ahead of time you think to yourself, I'm gonna choose the positive branches. And that might be as little as I am not going to respond. I am just going to listen, right? Or it might be I'm going to respond in the moment, but I'm not going to talk about it. I might have to journal it to get it out, but I am not going to talk about it, right? So you're choosing neutral to positive branches, a reaction, because you have a habit, you have a thought, emotion, and action habit, and to this person or this thing that's been negative. So you're going to pre-coach yourself to choose either neutral or positive. And it will be hard because it's a habit, right?
Right.
And that doesn't mean don't feel your feelings. You always feel your feelings, but you don't act on them. So you have the thought, which is it's a trigger to trauma. Then you have the emotion that matches it, which you need to feel. But the action is where you cut it off. So you don't call your friend to talk about, that thing again,
Right.
or whatever it is. You don't scream and yell, you don't have the action. That so between the emotion and the action is where you choose the neutral or positive. And sometimes if you're not successful at night, you can just journal. So you go back and you relive it. Okay, so this was said and I said this and that happened. And I'm going to visualize a different outcome. Like just visualize it. And that's working in the energy field, right?
Right.
So you just redid the event, and maybe you have to do that for a while. But those are like the 3 habits that you can start using to start changing. And I mean, change can happen really fast,
Yes.
really fast.
Yes, it
And
can.
because when you're working in the quantum physics, and we won't go into, full science behind that, but there is a science, and they're proving all kinds of things with it now, that you can switch your reality really quickly. So this old way of doing, and like, grinding at it, and it
Right.
takes years, or maybe it never changes. That is the old way. We are in the era of like energy and intuition. And if you're working and ignoring what's in front of you, but you're working in the energy field of anything with gratitude and love, it can change overnight and miraculously, where you're like, wow, my daughter wasn't even talking to me. She blocked me on everything. And now she's buying me a home.
Right. Exactly.
Like, that's
Exactly.
miraculous.
And you as you do the visualizations, because I do a lot of that in my work, and you feel the feelings, and it really does just shift things, and it shifts your relationships, instead of coming from they did this to me, and being really open and making those choices. It just makes such an impact on your relationships and your lives. And some people will fall away, but at the same time, you just end up, like you said, as your vibration raises, just life changes and shifts, and
Yeah. And you
it
won't,
becomes magic.
it does. It's like magic. And I'll like, won't say who, because I'm not sure who knows who's going to be watching this. There was this person that I love so much. I was having this difficult, situation happen, and I could have reacted, and I was definitely like, I could factually prove that I was being victimized, per se. I hate using that
Mhm.
word, but like, things were being said and done that were not nice, and I approve of it. This is not nice, like, that's happening, and everyone would agree. Didn't. Instead, every single night I journaled every positive aspect I could of this person. And it didn't take this person very long to turn around and um, let me know how much they love me, how important I am, how wrong they were. Will I forgive them? Of course, of course. And I knew, and this is one of my practices and what I teach is I just worked in the quantum physics. Okay, this is happening. I'm not going to talk about it. Not that I didn't respond to this person several times with my facts that they didn't care about, because no one cares. Reticular activation, she chose to be upset and angry. So that's how she was going to feel, no matter what the actual facts were.
Exactly.
So I'm just like writing, and it did not take very long for that whole situation to just turn around. And so and maybe that could be like a step we give today. Like if you have a situation with a person or event that's not going well, just choose at night to journal every positive thing that you can about it. Every single night, do it, and try to refrain from discussing with other people, and see how long it takes for that situation to just like something miraculous will happen that you never would have dreamed of, and it will switch.
Right, because you're giving that energy to it instead of the energy when you're complaining and just giving more energy to what's happening that you don't want to happen, right? Yeah, that's a great way to start.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything else you wanted to share with us today? Sounds like you have an amazing free gift that everybody wants to click on.
Yeah, so it's consciously creating, and it talks about how the subconscious mind works, right? So you have thoughts and emotions, which equal this habit, right? And then this habit creates a reality, and it's just this loop. And then the 3 habits that you can use to circumvent the loop, which is what we talked about: gratitude, savoring, and the positive branches. And then 7, which we didn't get into, 7 principles of consciously creating. And then also I'm going to mention here, and that's a free gift. I do have a paid thing that I did. It's called Your Manifestation Journal that I created for myself, because every month I was like drawing these lines. I'm like, why not doing it? And it's basically taking what's in this consciously creating and really tracking it, because whatever you do consistently is what changes, right? So you can't just do it once, ish, kind of, but if you're tracking it, and holding yourself accountable by tracking it, that's when you see the change. So all this stuff that you're going to learn about in this summit, it's called consistency. You don't have to go out and do this big giant thing, I'm going to get in shape, so I'm going to run an hour every day. It will not last. Your willpower will only take you so far.
Yes.
You do little steps, but you do it every day. I don't even care if it's like, I'm going to do gratitude and I'm going to practice. I'm just going to say 3 things in my head every single night. That's as much as I can do. And it takes you 5 seconds. Do that. Right. But if you do it consistently, that's where you see the change. It has to be consistent and small steps. Right. So that's something that, well, I don't know if we'll have it out there or available, but it is something that I use. I know that Carla uses.
Yep.
And it is super inexpensive, because I wanted it to be affordable, but and we might put that out there. But it's called Your Manifestation Journal.
And it's on Amazon. If somehow you miss how we have it out there, it's beautiful. And yes, I do use it too. It keeps you on track, keeps you aware. All the things that you were talking about. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I love talking about this. I love when it clicked for people and they can just see these miraculous changes, because really, I believe that we were all meant to live feeling connected, feeling loved, feeling in our purpose, which creates a feeling of being free. That is our sovereign rights as sentient living beings, and somehow we got programmed out of it. And so my passion is helping people find their way again.
Yeah, and that's so beautiful. And we all have all these gifts, and with your passion, you're making others aware of their beautiful gifts so that we can all work together and do all of that. That's just amazing. Thank you so much, Rebecca. Loved having you. And it's always just a pleasure getting to talk to you and getting, learning new things. And thank you for always being a part of everything.
Thanks for having me.